Welcome to the Giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford. Caroline and Tyler here with you, and it's a big day here in Edmonton. Big day in Alberta overall because it is the Battle of Alberta. And before we get into tonight's game, Tyler, we have to recap the Oilers' first game of the season against the Vancouver Canucks, and a big win for the boys too. Let's talk about it. First of all, man, how are you doing?
I'm great. I am fantastic. First off, just one second here. Yeah, just gonna make sure we have no audio problems this time. Just gonna make sure we're all good to go. And yeah, we got our streams open here. I got Facebook, Twitch. We're live on Twitter. We're live on YouTube. There's a Battle of Alberta tonight. The weather is beautiful. How can you not be absolutely vibing over high?
I thought Tyler wasn't about to give me a high five there. I was ready to high five myself. I was amped. All right, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about last game.
Puljujarvi. I want to start with Puljujarvi because what a comeback story for this kid. And also when I saw him score the goal and to see how amped he got, just like his pure emotion, I was so happy for him. So talk to me about Puljujarvi and his momentum right now.
I think, again, it was a prime example of why this guy is such a fan favorite, right? Like, every Oilers fan, I mean, if you're an Oilers fan, you feel better every time they score, but there's a different feeling when Jesse Puljujarvi scores, and the emotion he has, the smile on his face. Dave Tippett's talked about it in the past, just how much they love this guy because of that, like, the energy he brings, and we were chatting before the show, like, you don't see that from a lot of NHLers. So, I mean, I think he's primed to have a monster year. And there's people, it's not an Oilers homer thing. Like, you're seeing a lot of people outside of Edmonton kind of starting to notice this guy and saying, hey, this is a dark horse 30-goal candidate this season. Another
person I want to talk about, Zach Hyman, which, you know, Bagged Milk and I were talking about. Bagged Milk thinks he's going to be a fan favorite by Halloween.
Yeah.
I think he might already be close to a fan favorite. This guy nets his first goal as an Oiler, proves his worth. You know, people were tweeting at me being like, this guy's relentless on the puck. That's exactly what Zach Hyman brings to this team. Talk to me about how you're feeling about Zach Hyman. I already know how I feel about Zach Hyman, but as an Oilers fan.
I've talked about this on a few different things, talked about it on Oilers Nation Radio the other day and the Beatcast, but we spent so much time in the offseason, I think, talking about the moves we didn't like, that we maybe didn't give enough love to the Hyman edition, and we maybe didn't quite notice as a fan base how much of an impact player he would be. Like, this isn't a complimentary piece. This isn't a $3 million winger that you're getting to just kind of float around in your top six and bang home garbage goals. He's a driver. And he showed playing on that line with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins that he can drive play. And I thought it was a great debut. I loved the goal. Alex Chason was in the lineup for the Canucks. And watching the contrast of the power play between having a guy like Chason who, you know, no disrespect, kind of was just a floater, a guy who'd stand in front and bang home the garbage goals, swapping that for another impact driver piece is huge for this team. And also on his goal, I loved Leon Draisaitl's reaction as well with the big bear hug coming in. It was great. It was great.
Talking about hugs, Connor McDavid hugging Mike Smith after the game. I said that deserves to be a Canadian heritage moment. So for all the fans listening, do your job about photoshopping that into a Canadian heritage moment because it was just awesome. But Mike Smith, that's perfect transition. 36 save performance against the Canucks. I thought he was an absolute masher, an absolute gamer. I even went as far as tweeting as if you're going to talk crap about Mike Smith, don't talk to me because I really, really respect him. But does he have the ability to keep consistency throughout the season? This is game one. You know, he started out unbelievably well, but now let's talk about consistency and even how we expect him to play going forward.
It was vintage Mike Smith, honestly. Like, he looked like the same Schmitty that we saw last year, and he turned aside 8 high danger chances, all 8 that the Canucks had. He's an absolute battler, and I love that about him. You know, the overreactions. He can get tapped on the pad, and he's lunging, and his helmet's coming off, and he's staring down everybody. I think he really is, in a way, kind of like the heartbeat of this team, and I think the group in front of him recognizes that. You talked about the McDavid hug after the win. The big thing this year will be Mikko Koskinen, and I think Koskinen will have a big impact on the kind of season we get out of Mike Smith. Again, he's 39 years old. You got to bring that up. It's an 82-game season. It's a longer grind than it was last year. They're going to need Koskinen to shoulder a bit more of the load than he did in the final month and a half of the year. And that's going to keep Smith healthy. It's going to keep him rested, and it hopefully will keep him effective all the way until next spring.
Connor McDavid, obviously the #1 hockey player in the world, in the league, had a quiet 2 assists. What do you think of the captain's performance?
First off, you'll like this one from Dangerous Wade in the Twitch chat. Little known fact, Mike Smith is a millennial and an Aries, Caroline.
Oh, an Aries. You know what? This makes sense. Okay, Zodiac Caroline coming through. Aries are known to be very fiery individuals, very passionate, kind of, I don't mean this in a negative way, but kind of like a loose cannon. They don't really think, okay, now I'm crazy. Call me for your spiritual advice and any zodiac
I shouldn't have brought it up. I shouldn't have brought it up.
Such any astrology readings, but it makes sense that Mike Smith is an Aries. And thank you very much to, sorry, what was his name in the chat?
Dangerous Wade.
Thank you so much, Dangerous Wade, for letting me know that, because now I'm going to go ahead and tell you for the next show, Mike Smith's entire birth chart. So stay tuned for that one.
We were talking about Connor McDavid, yeah. He was dangerous. He looked dangerous. Like, again, like a quiet 2-assist night, right?
Yeah.
That's a quiet night for 97.
Right,
but he had a couple of fantastic rushes. And again, we got one of those moments because I was in the crowd where the Canucks were changing lines and McDavid scooped up the puck at his own blue line and looped, and the buzz was there, and that was really cool. I kind of like him to score tonight, honestly. I think he'll find the back of the net. I can pull up the betting odds on that for when we get to our betting segment. But he looked dangerous. It was, again, like we saw vintage Mike Smith, we saw vintage Connor McDavid.
Big first win for the Edmonton Oilers, but right now let's go into our opposition report presented by Yeg Burger. We all know what's going on tonight. It's the Battle of Alberta. Calgary Flames open their season tonight in Edmonton at 8 o'clock p.m. at Rogers Place. Now, something I found very interesting is Matthew Tkachuk in preseason said that he's kind of sick and tired of the slow starts that the Flames have been having. Do you anticipate tonight being a slow start for the Flames with the roster that they have?
Yeah. Hey, Oilers fans, you'll like this. I don't think the Flames are that good. I mean, last year the Oilers won 6 out of the 10. They outscored them, I think, by like 5 or 6 goals. So the season series was tight, and these are Battle of Alberta games. Both teams get up for them. I think that's why the season series is always, kind of as tight as it is, or at least as it has been recently. But look at up on the screen there. They lost their best defenseman, Mark Giordano. Okay, then look on the left side of the screen. Who did they replace him with? Eric Branson, not good. Nikita Zadorov, not that good. Can't skate very well. They're not as good as they were last year, and this is a team who was really average, and they start slow. I think Daryl Sutter is going to want them to play this really buttoned-down kind of defensive game, and that's not the way the Oilers go. If the Oilers can dictate the pace tonight, then I think this is their game to win, and when I look at that Flames lineup, they don't have the horses to keep up with the Oilers. If this turns into a run and gun, whoever can skate the best, get the most high danger chances is going to win. The Oilers can beat them at that game. So I just look at this Flames depth chart, and there's just not a lot I love about it. Their center depth is good, I guess, but I don't like their blue line. I don't like their bottom 6. They're just not that good of a team. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team this year.
Basically, Tyler just does not like them. I'll just say it for Tyler. He doesn't like them.
There's just not a lot to like in their lineup. Like, I don't think they're going to move well. I think their blue line's slow. I don't think they particularly move the puck well either. If this turns into a dump and chase and grind it out in the corners kind of game, then yeah, that plays into the Flames' favor. But if the Oilers can dictate the pace and they have last change on home ice, get McDavid out there against that good Branson pairing or that Zadorov pairing, and I think they're going to be okay.
Is there anyone on the Flames roster aside from the big names like Tkachuk, Mangiapane?
Mangiapane's an Oilers killer.
He's unbelievable. Is there anyone else, though, that's kind of like the hidden gem for the Flames that the Oilers should be watching out for? Or is it just kind of like those big names that we know that play for the Flames?
I mean, again, Mangiapane is becoming one of those big names, and it seems like every time the Oilers play the Flames, Mangiapane's getting 6 shots on goal, he's a +2, and he's got a goal and an assist. And you're like, how? Who is this guy? But he's becoming more of a household name, and Mangiapane's a guy to watch tonight.
Awesome. Okay, let's go into the Calgary Flames starting lineups presented by Deuce Vodka. Take it away, Tyler.
Yeah, as we kind of saw there, courtesy of Daily Faceoff, if Lindholm's down the middle, their center depth is actually pretty good. And I think the strategy will be, I think Michael Backlund might see a lot of the McDavid line, but Lindholm very well could as well. That Lindholm, Gaudreau, Tkachuk line could actually be a little more dangerous than maybe I'm giving them credit for. Sean Monahan's a guy who needs to have a really big year, and I already kind of touched on the bottom 4 there is what I'll call it on their D pairings. Getting that McDavid-Draisaitl duo out against one of those 2 pairings on a consistent basis will be huge for this team.
Okay, and how about our Edmonton Oilers? What do their starting lineups look like presented by Deuce Vodka?
Well, pretty similar to last game, Caroline. The top 6 is going to stay the same with McDavid, Draisaitl, Puljujarvi, Nuge, Giamo, Hyman. Third line looks different, though. The Oilers just officially announcing it as well. Zach Kassian going to make his season debut.
Nice. Okay, so talk to me. You said you loved Zach Hyman on the second line because of the depth that it provides for the Oilers, which we clearly saw in the first game against the Canucks. Would you keep it this way moving forward, or would you try and change things up a bit?
I do think I eventually want to see Hyman up on the McDavid line. I think there's a chance that really clicks and Hyman is this, Maroon 2.0 kind of fit on the McDavid line. But for now, you won in game 1. The second line looked okay. I didn't love Yamamoto's game, but for the most part, that second line, played good. So I think I keep it the same in this one, but I am excited to see the third line. Like, they beat the Canucks. It wasn't pretty, though. They didn't get any depth scoring. Hyman's goal was a power play goal. The other one came from the top line. They need to get a goal from this bottom 9, I'll call it. One of these lines has to provide some sort of offense at 5-on-5 if they're going to win.
Okay, so we have a question. You mentioned Kassian on Twitter. So thank you guys so much for your questions, your comments. Keep them going. This is why we're here. We want to interact with you guys. From Dangle Dump 94.
He's a regular.
Any chance Kassian and the Turtle drop the mitts tonight?
No. I don't.
The Turtle is this what you guys call Tkachuk?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think we'll see, for a couple reasons. I don't think the Flames want Tkachuk fighting. I think they want him focusing on their game. Zach Kassian's been hurt in his last 2 fights. I think Kassian's gloves, for lack of a better term, might be glued on in this one. At the same time, you never know how heated a game is going to get, so maybe. But, coming off a head injury, you would like to see Kassian just keep the gloves on, don't get hurt, play a hard physical style, but maybe we don't need to scrap tonight from 44. All
right, Tyler, talk to us about the bet of the game.
The bet of the game, courtesy of our friends over at PointsBet. As you can see, the Oilers are minus 150 on the money line, so they are favorites in this one. I expect the Oilers to be favorites in a lot of their games this year. We're not going to get a lot of opportunity to get them at plus money on the money line, but I don't mind them in regulation, actually. It's not up there on the screen, but I think the Oilers are like plus 105 in regulation tonight. I like that bet. I think, fired up. Home crowd, Battle of Alberta. Edmonton can pull off a regulation win at Rogers Place tonight. I mentioned McDavid to get a goal. That one is plus 105. Draisaitl's also plus 105 to get a goal.
Damn.
But my bet of the game, which didn't hit last game, my apologies, everybody. Jesse Puljujarvi to get a point. It's minus 122. He's had big games against Flames before. I like Puljujarvi to get back on the score sheet for a second game in a row. Minus 122. Jesse Puljujarvi to get a point. Hashtag fade your Remchuk.
Okay, so I also, before we went live, I asked Oilers nation citizens to tell me their favorite part about the Battle of Alberta. So I just want to read a couple of tweets that I got because you guys are awesome. You make me laugh every day. So from Clayton, his answer was when Calgary loses. From Matt Carson, the friends we make along the way, as long as they aren't Flames fans. You guys, there's a common theme I'm understanding here. Another one, I like making fun of Calgary. It's a hobby of mine. From McJenny, the intensity, it's so much fun and hasn't been fun, and it hasn't been much fun in a few years, so I'm loving every moment of it now. And Elise, knowing we have McDavid and they don't. Last one from Taj Gill, seeing Tkachuk cry every battle. Tyler, your favorite part about the Battle of Alberta, please?
I'll say this about tonight's game. I love that the crowd's back. Like last time we had Battles of Alberta with the crowds, that's when, the Tkachuk Kassian thing was kind of at its peak, and it was great. So I'm excited that there's going to be a crowd back in the mix here. I think Rogers Place is going to be absolutely bumping. A couple other things I want to touch on from the Facebook chat. Andrew James, Dubé is a sneaky one that can hurt the Oilers too. I like Dubé. He's one of the Flames forwards I really do enjoy. Scott Halderson, McDavid and Dry will be broken up for road games. That's something, we'll maybe talk about that on the next pod. I know the Oilers are still on a bit of a homestand here, but I like the idea of splitting them up for road games and keeping them together for home games when you have that last change. And Dangerous Waden on Twitch, again, today will be a big bottom 6 day. He's predicting Perlini gets one, Kassian has some big hits, and Haas goes for a slap shot on the breakaway. Well, no Gaetan Haas, R.I.P. I miss Gaetan Haas as an Oiler.
Lamborghini Perlini, and we were speaking about this last show, and I know we didn't have audio. That was just a test to see how many loyal fans would come back. But the depth is, I think, what's exciting about the Oilers this season. You guys have third line, fourth line depth that are able to produce points, hopefully, right? Like, knock on wood.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see if Perlini comes through, and you hit it on the money with Zach Hyman, but I'm still in the boat of wanting to see what Hyman does with Connor McDavid up on that first line, because I'm even sure Zach Hyman himself is like, it's go time for him.
Yeah,
So.
I'm really fired up for tonight. I mean, again, Battle of Alberta Saturday night. It really doesn't get any better than this. Like I said off the top, the weather's beautiful. It's a great day. The vibes, immaculate. I love it. And I think, Liam, did we go through a whole show, no technical difficulties? Oh, yeah.
Liam.
Big day for Liam. Liam's in midseason form again. And Electronic Jordan, he's reading the Facebook chat. Get him a hazmat suit. Love that one. Yeah, it was great. The chat was great today. This went well.
Guys, we're doing this every
surprised.
single Edmonton Oilers game day at 1 p.m. We love doing this. We get pumped for it. This is, again, my first time as an Edmonton Oilers fan experiencing the Battle of Alberta. So please talk to me on Twitter, talk to Oilers Nation, to Tyler Yaremchuk, to producer Liam, to everybody. We like talking with you guys, and please make this a staple on every single Edmonton Oilers game day that you guys come hang out with us on the Giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford, because we're amped. Like, this to me is so fun. Like, this is our job.
Yeah,
Isn't this
great.
nuts?
It's great.
Nuts. Jesus,
We'll be back
can't
Tuesday's
talk.
next game, right?
Yes.
Tuesday's next game. Hopefully it's the 2-0 Edmonton Oilers going up against the Anaheim Ducks for that one.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.